As we go live, we got some positivity to share. Kendrick Lamar just a day ago brought the positivity up. In comes Deadline with a brand new article bringing up positivity. Jonathan Michael Majors, that actor, you guys know the one that we used to cover, and every week it would be some news story about how he's bad and he's awful, but then there's like camera evidence of him escaping his attackee. We got the person who admits herself. Her name was Stephanie. What was her name? It was Stephanie. Stephanie saying, "Oh, I attacked him," and all that stuff. We see him separating himself from her. That guy. Remember that guy who was found not guilty of intentional assault? He was found not guilty of aggravated harassment. But then the jury was like, "Okay, but we'll give him reckless assault." Yeah, he did it recklessly. Yeah, that guy. All right, that actor maybe was off of movies for about a year. He still has the magazine Dreams to come out. Hasn't done a movie, hasn't filmed anything. He's back. New movie coming. Jonathan Majors was hired. Jonathan Majors was accepted. Jonathan Majors was chosen not just to be like a background character, not an extra. He wasn't the supporting cast. He's not someone's favor. No. He is starring in a lead film, in a lead film role. He's going to be in the new movie called Merciless. Let's share the screen to go and see what happens on Deadline. Deadline had the news story. Do you see that? Jonathan Majors to star in supernatural revenge thriller Merciless from Martin, I'm going to say it that way because he's French, Villeneuve. You recognize that last name? The brother of the Dune director. Denis Villeneuve did many others, but Martin Villeneuve is going to be the one directing this. So it's an exclusive. You notice who's doing the exclusive? Is it Variety? Oh no! Is the exclusive being covered by Rolling Stone? Did they get the skinny? Oh no! What about other places? It isn't anyone but Deadline with the exclusive news. It's important that you pay attention to things like that. Who's the people in charge of giving you news, especially when people of colorless decide to make spins that fulfill their agendas. It's like what Amanda Stenberg was talking about in Journalists. We got Kat Not Williams, who just gifted 5 channel memberships. 5 memberships. 5 of them. You want to be a channel member? Just take advantage of that, and you get to hear what I had to say about fans and who Disney and other studios have been catering to. That was my latest channel member exclusive. And I got another one coming later tonight talking about my comic book, which I'm about to release, which I've already written. Guys, it's already been a written comic book. It's coming out. Channel members will get the skinny on that. It's not coming out this year, so be patient. But damn, I'm great. I am great. He's back, thank God. It was a year. It was 1 year off. That's normal. Like, there's people who, with the exception of The Rock, there's people who do movies and take years between. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio does 1 movie a year. Maybe sometimes he waits even longer. This road bump was barely a road bump. So he'll film this, and I'll read the news instead of spoiling the news. Deadline exclusive. Majors is set to star in the revenge thriller Merciless. That's the name of the movie, Merciless. I like it. I just like the name of the movie. It's a revenge thriller. What's it called? Merciless. There you go. You can say I'm putting gas on it, but I'm happy. This is a good day. This is a happy. I've been in a good mood since the Kendrick Lamar thing, and I saw DeMar DeRozan on stage, and LeBron, keep the family away. LeBron's family at the LA Forum, crazy, or the Kia Forum, which is based on an original screenplay by Frank Hanna. All I hear is it's a proven success that will now become a movie. So shout out to Frank Hanna for creating this Merciless CIA movie. Martin Villeneuve, the younger brother of filmmaker Denis Villeneuve, will direct. The younger Villeneuve is best known for his sci-fi opus Mars et Avril. Never seen it, of course, but that doesn't mean anything. He's got experience, okay? What's the budget on this thing gonna be? It can't be too expensive, can't be too crazy. This could be the movie that shoots him up, man. Merciless follows a top CIA interrogator who, after the woman he loves is overtaken by a malevolent force. Chillmonger knows a lot about a lot of things. But malevolent is not a word Chillmonger knows the definition of. So he opens another tab, and on Google it says having or showing a wish to do evil to others. A malevolent force was taken over by his woman. This is hitting very close to home. I bet Jonathan laughed at this script. So his woman he loves is overtaken by a malevolent force, is forced to go even darker to defeat it. The film will mark Majors' first role since his third-degree assault and harassment conviction earlier this year. Let's be clear on this. His harassment, it's a violation. That third-degree assault of reckless assault was a misdemeanor, and he beats the intentional assault. And there's camera footage. They should have provided a link to the footage. And if you could click on this, you can see him running away from the woman. You can see how she's fine in the club. You can see that the injuries that she has later on weren't by him. There should be more information about how the cops fabricated a lie. They fabricated the story. They said, "Oh, you're being strangled, right?" You can talk about how in court they wouldn't play the audio of the police body camera footage. Why do police wear body cameras if we can't play the audio of it when it's relevant to the case? You can talk about how a day later, the judge and the assistant district attorney corroborated and said, "Oh yeah. Because of what you asked yesterday, we actually decided that we're allowed to admit this evidence that happened in October of 2022 of a text message and makes you look bad. So we're gonna put that out there. And then right after we're done showing that text message, we're gonna ask who did it, and she's gonna say Jonathan, so that you guys, the jury, can associate him with that action, even though he's not on trial for anything that happened in October of 2020 or September of 2022." That wasn't there. It just says his third-degree assault. That's too unfortunate that they wouldn't report the news all properly. People who've been paying attention know. But you know who does know? The director of this film. You know who does know? The producer of this film. The movie will be shot in Saskatchewan in late fall. That is very far away from me, but at least it's the same country. Merciless intertwines the themes of possession, revenge, and personal justice within a haunting narrative. It explores the psychological descent of John, played by Majors. So the character is also named John, and the supernatural forces challenging his sanity. I'm getting supernatural. I like that. I don't like movies that just take place in reality. Some of you guys like that stuff. I don't like Daredevil comic books because they take place in reality. I need some more mystical stuff. I need some more like uniqueness to my movies, to my enjoyment. So when I see that there's supernatural forces, that kind of makes me interested. As long as it's not like put the Bible pages stuck onto the wall, like that kind of stuff, as long as it isn't that, I'll be fine with it. He's back, thank God. Hey, salam alaikum, walaikum salam. Shout out JM. That's right, big bro. Shout out big bro. Roberto, Chillmong, a quick question. Do you see the leaked pictures of the Superman movie? Quick answer. No, I didn't see the leaked pictures. The project was developed by producer Christopher Tuffin. Remember this name? Who will soon unveil his new global media venture heading into TIFF. It is expected to be demonstrative of his new venture's disruptive nature. One that, according to Tuffin, refuses to let the court of public opinion and selective prosecution undermine great art and artists. One more time for the back. What did the producer of this film, Christopher Tuffin, just explain to us in the quote? He says, refuses to let the court of public opinion and selective prosecution undermine great art and artists. Where did they find this man? Where did they find him? Let's take a pause of this entire article. Oh, my mouse is acting up. My mouse. Let's take a pause and look. Stop sharing this page, and I want to find Christopher Tuffin and what he's been up to in his career. Where is that one there? IMDb Christopher Tuffin. This dude, that's not a picture of him. This dude here did the movie Peppermint. He produced that. He produced the what now? The Sound of Freedom. You talking about that movie that came out, took the world by storm a year ago, which they wanted to delay and not show. So when I read the quote from him that says he refuses to let the court of public opinion and selective prosecution, I'm sorry, Dre. I'm sorry I make fun of you. Selective prosecution undermine great art and artists. When I hear those words and I read those words, I'm going, oh, we got a woke director. And when I say woke, I mean it the way Amanda Stenberg says woke. We've got a director who wants to fight back. There's something about Mary. That was a long time ago. So this dude's older. Alphas. So this is a producer. This is a producer, like a guy. What's he written? Alphas, Merciless coming up. 2001 Maniacs, Field of Screams. He's got movies on his belt, so the quality of the movie I think should be. I think there will be quality in the movie just because he's got some movies that he's done before. Majors is in good hands with this movie. Let's keep on reading what's going on here. And thank you, Roberta, for becoming a channel member. Deadline. I got so many tabs open. I believe I was here. Jonathan. Oh, here. Tuffin played a big part in the success of Sound of Freedom, which became one of the big box office hits last summer, grossing more than 250 million worldwide, theatrically, and 400 million in all media. Damn, I didn't even realize that they also had a life on streaming, a life on home video. That movie was so small. This guy has a fan base, you know. This movie doesn't need to make much money considering what the budget is, but if this can gross 250 million again, that would be heaven. I think there's so many of us who've been who watched this whole Jonathan Majors thing and could relate to someone we knew. That's not a stretch to say, but there's so many of us who can relate to this story. And we're all like, yeah, when Jonathan Majors gets back in a movie theater, we're going to be the reason it's successful. And since the budget isn't very high, the barrier for success isn't going to be too difficult to do. If a few thousand of us show up at that movie theater and pay $13 to get a movie ticket, just even though there's a small amount of us internet people, we can be the bump that makes this movie profitable and makes what they're saying about Will Smith right now, about our audience is ready to forgive. Yeah. So some audience never cared because slapping somebody after he makes fun of your wife isn't really that big of a deal. There's levels to things. There's a lot of things that happen, like Dana White slapping his wife, and there's a lot of more severe things that happen, and it feels like people have come back. The Will Smith stuff was nothing. Enough about Will Smith. Jonathan Majors is in a major way because he wasn't gonna get a Disney film. Because if he was, Magazine Dreams would have come out. Warner Brothers, not even Sony is looking at him. But his first movie back is with probably the best of that sort of lower tier, not the big 5-6 studios. This is a win for him, just based off of the movie. We get one. I don't know what one means. What do you mean one? Put a 1 in the chat if you think Stephanie is gonna go see this movie. She's gonna be like, yo, I prepared him. You know, he's a method actor, so I got him here. That malevolent woman that he's dating, yeah. Hey, Kat, you have the link if you want the link. It's in the DMs if you want to join this. He's back. 1 year off. All he had, Fatal J, was 1 year away from the movies, which is like a normal break for everyone else. Now he's back. He still has Magazine Dreams in the bag. You can imagine if this is performing well and perceived well, and if he's cheered at this new Hollywood Unlocked award that he's going to get for perseverance, you can imagine that the fans will speak so loudly that Magazine Dreams will have to come out. Magazine Dreams will be a movie. Jonathan Majors is in a great place right now. I love it. And he's dating Megan Good. One, she can't let him go. Tracy, yep. I'm in a work webinar. You choosing a work webinar over this Jonathan Majors news? Okay, Kat, I see how it is. Tuffin played a big part in the success of Sound of Freedom. We just read that. In graduate school, I had the good fortune to study screenwriting under Blacklist scribe Millard Lamble, and learned from him the dangers of letting politics undermine due process and deprive artists of their careers, Tuffin states. Alvin Bragg had political aspirations. Everything he did in that district was ideological and not fact-based and not fair and was wonky. Christopher Tuffin was watching Chillmonger videos. Christopher Tuffin has got an active brain. The neurons are neuroning. Smart man. Respect to Christopher Tuffin. He says, I consider it an honor and a privilege to be working with Jonathan. Not, all right, it's not the best circumstances, but we took the deal because his talent was too great, and we'll take the risk. Not that. It's an honor and privilege. The system is warped. I hate it. I've been learning about this thing since I was in graduate school. That's when I kind of got smartened up to the world we're around and the injustices that are taking place in the courts. So yeah, this doesn't faze me. I'm actually happy to be the first guy to hit him up on his phone and call him up and give him a movie. Jonathan Majors just like, yeah. Does he got to be bulky and buff to be in this role? He's a CIA agent. You don't really got to be too strong for that. You don't want to be covert, so not so much muscles, but enough core strength to get yourself out of a jam. So he's gonna take care of his body. They're not gonna be filming yet, though. But he was just chilling at home, dating Megan Good. Tough and hit his jack. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do the K Shine or the who was it? He pushed T-Rex out the bed because Murder Mook. Someone gets my references, but I'm not gonna do that. In graduate school, I had the good fortune to study screenwriting under blacklist scribe Millard Lample. Whoever Millard Lample is, let me blacklist scribe. Let me Google and just to see like what his skin tone is because I have a imagination of what that is. Am I wrong? No, it looks like a Caucasian man. Millard Lample and learn from him dangers of letting politics undermine due process and deprive artists of their careers. Yeah, you mean like how the information, all the evidence was sealed. And then like 3 days before the verdict, they're like, all right, cool. Everyone can see this information. The verdict hadn't even come in yet. Why are you sealing it? Yeah. Which, by the way, if they're going to seal all of the information here, I'm looking at you, Disney. I'm looking at you, Marvel Studios. If they unsealed the information and you got to see the so-called terrible attack that Jonathan did, then as soon as that evidence was unsealed, you should have said, oh, we don't tolerate that. He pushed away this woman who's re-entering his space. That was 3 pushes. He can't do that. That's illegal. If that was the case, you should have made your news right there. You should have dropped it right there. Variety article. They should have hit enter right then because you can't stand for that action. That practice will not be tolerated and you won't hire an actor who has that. If that's the case. But no, you waited for a verdict. You have no moral. You have no morals. It's just, okay, that's what the verdict says. You shouldn't need a verdict. That video should have been enough if you thought it was so wrong. Great news, Kang just might come back. I don't want him to play Kang. I want him to be back. I don't want his I'll explain this one better for you, Eric Shaw. Race swap casting is temporary representation. No matter how often you get these black faces in these roles, a popular character isn't being introduced to the zeitgeist who's got dark skin. It's a short-term band-aid that appears to be a solution and appears we live in a more inclusive world. However, since the characters are white, they will revert to being white. The last thing I'll leave you on is this beautiful meme. Race swaps never last. In 2005, we had a white guy playing the Human Torch because the Human Torch is a white guy. Michael B. Jordan comes in 10 years later and he plays the role of the Human Torch. He was Johnny Storm. And then in 2025, the new Fantastic Four movie is hiring a white guy again. Stop living in the moment. Stop living in the 2015 era going, black, yay, hooray, we did it. And think long term of how that year, that studio who did that movie was saying we're doing enough black this year. It costs you a black movie. They know they have to do enough black casting. Then they have their little requirements. And what a waste for it to go to popularize a white character. That's what I mean when I say I'm not for Kang, Eric. I'll read more of you guys's. And my mouse is fidgety. I need to change my mouse. Wow, great statement. Yeah, from Christopher Tuffin. I'm here for the Green Lantern shirt content. Shout out to Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. Shout out to the Green Lantern. K. Dot says, the king is back, not Kang. Now we got Alejandro. Very good for him. Hey, look at the positivity. We better show up in that movie when it comes out, and I'll read more to see exactly when the date is. This is great for him. I knew he would be back. He's too good. Exactly. This is just positive news. You agree with me with the race swap castings? Of course you do, Professor Film Fan. Right. Good talent doesn't go unnoticed. Nope. What movie is it called? It's called Merciless, and I was just reading the article about it on Deadline. Majors was sentenced to participate in an intervention program after his conviction in December after a March 2023 altercation with his then girlfriend, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley III. He had not pleaded. He had pleaded not guilty to 4 misdemeanor counts. Hey, let's remind everyone there was more, and it wasn't. Harassment is not a misdemeanor. 3 of them were misdemeanors, but there were more than just those. He was being charged with something from the police back on March of 2023, the day they arrested him. They dropped every single one of those charges in May to match new claims because it wasn't the police going after him, it was the district going after him. And they asked and they interviewed Stephanie, and Stephanie gave her version of what happened. Okay, we were in the car, we were out the car, and it wasn't what the police were going with. And they added new charges. Now, all these charges, a huge amount of charges, more than 10, started getting dropped. By the time we went to court, it was like 8 charges. And they said, okay, we're going to drop the first 4 charges on the first day of court before a witness even took the stand. They said, hey, by the way, we're going to go forward only going with 4. And it was the violation of harassment and the misdemeanor of aggravated harassment, reckless assault, intentional assault. They gave him the violation of harassment. I think the reasoning was he was carrying her. That's harassing because he was lifting her. It's so warped how they can go, oh, if we just look at the scene in a vacuum, if we just look at that one time, that one action, he's guilty. Look at the surroundings. Look at how afterwards he's running away from her. Look at how, he walked past her and she was following him and finally got her back in the car. And there was a second incident in the car where she was scratching away and he's like, I can't even sit in here in this car. Look at the body language of those strangers that they met on the street. Look at that, how she was able to go, Stephanie was able to go to the club afterwards. She was uninjured. That's all that happened right afterwards. So we're going to call that assault and ignore what happened afterwards. Not to mention, she self-admittedly admitted to hitting him. So it's harassment to carry and lift someone and push someone away from you who admittedly hit you. Okay, was there anyone else there during this? Was there a witness, a third party perhaps, that is neutral? Oh yeah, Naveed Sarwar. That's the driver of the Cadillac that day, and said she was doing everything, he was doing nothing. You have to imagine assaults. But a jury is going to jury. Is his skin dark? Yes. There's nothing more to it. This is a big win. What now? What movie? The movie is called Merciless. Yes, great news. I'm really hope Marvel gets him back. But great step in the right direction for him. You know who I hope Marvel gets back? Marvel. I hope Marvel gets Marvel back. Hire those same screenwriters that you had, Marcus and McFeely. Figure it out. Deadpool and Wolverine's supposedly supposed to be a good movie, according to like early. Never mind. Let's not talk about Marvel movies. Let's get back to this guy. Intervention program after his conviction. Yeah, that's going to last for a year. And when did that start? Back in April? So he's got 10 more months of it. Altercation with his then girlfriend, Steph. He had pleaded not guilty to 4 misdemeanor counts. The incident led to Majors being dropped from Marvel Cinematic Universe and the shelving of his acclaimed movie, Magazine Dreams, before it's released. It's, you know what else? You know what other movie was shelved by Disney for a long time? The Sound of Freedom. Christopher Tuffin will produce Merciless alongside Kevin Townsend and Kevin DeWalt, along with executive producers Amanda Delphine, Chris Oakes, Andrew Bates, and Ben DeWalt. So there's a lot of DeWalts in here, some Kevins in here, and the Villeneuve, who's not the Villeneuve, the other Villeneuve. Majors is rep by WME. Still? Did they change that? Did he have like a thing? Melville is rep by Gersh and the Character Talent Agency. That's cool that his representation either never left him or he joined them back. That's got to be a new 360. What is it called? 360 Entertainment, 360 Management. That was his. I remember covering these things, but it was about a year ago. This is new. He was not repped by WME back then. Nice on Deadline to put that in there, just to remind us that he's not this like unattainable, unusable talent. He's there. Star Wars Santa says, hey, I'm late to the party. What did I miss? Man, The Acolyte is the worst Star Wars show. No, but I did bring up Amanda Stenberg earlier, so you may be interested in that Star Wars Santa. I saw her song that she was doing about how they meaning like the End Wokeness Twitter account was using her song against her. And I'm like, the song is referencing the word woke and how you're using it. They actually call it appropriation in the song, and the End Wokeness account was acting weird. Listen, injustice exists in many forms in the media, in coverage from journalists, news. Injustice exists in representation in our films. For example, the Star Wars movie the franchise claimed to be this inclusive place. They did one time did we ever have a lead character whose skin is dark and not painted orange with little designs. And it's like the 14th project that's come out of Star Wars since Disney acquired them. We have these empty moments in representation, and the perception of what people who have melanin rich skin, the perception of people with dark skin is affected by movies. The people in the jury who watched Jonathan Majors, listened to the evidence, heard the driver say he wasn't doing anything, and heard her say, I hit him first as I was going after his phone. The the members of jury, all 6 of them, they already have perception of what it is that dark-skinned men do to these blonde women. They had that idea already. They was fighting an uphill battle from the jump. During the jury deselection, there's a reason why the assistant district attorney didn't want that one dude who was college educated, but he was black. They said, he'd be too smart for the jury, whatever their stupid reason was, to deselect him from being part of that jury. It's huge. And all of these are related to each other, even a little bit. Everything that I cover on this channel, sometimes not everything, sometimes I'm just here for the entertainment, but it's related. Seems like he's been supporting him from some time. Yup. William says, Jonathan Majors in Sound of Freedom 2. It's going to sound like freedom when it comes out. Christopher Muffin. That's his name. Oh, I've seen the theory retweeted Elon Musk, who retweeted and wokeness apparently thing are blowing up on that front. I'll go back and listen from the beginning. I've talked about it. I summarized everything for you here. You don't need to go back. This is mostly about Jonathan Majors. And to bring it back to Majors, the Deadline article that just came out right now that we all read, that wasn't from Variety or some of the other conglomerates who've been focusing on attacking him, is telling. If you think he is guilty, if you think that the 40 anonymous X's, now 2 of them came out and they said something about we were fighting over the mailbox and that's when he got physical with me, but it wasn't like he struck me or something. It was weird. All of these so-called victims and the so-called, not even so-called, the civil case that he's got to fight now. If you want to believe that camp, you're going against evidence. But don't watch the movie. Don't watch Merciless. Don't watch it. But to everyone in my live stream right now, it says I've got 32 viewers right now. If you support Jonathan Majors, you want what's best for him, you think his talent is worthy, you want to see the next 40 years of him making films. Yes, I said 40 years. Guys are really old, like Denzel's really old. Morgan Freeman's really old. Let me name white guys. DiCaprio. We've got all of these actors who, if they've been good, there's going to be an audience for them forever. All of these great actors. If you want Jonathan to be of that ilk, the most important movie ticket you can buy is the one to Merciless. Buy it twice. Go with a group when this movie does come out. And I thought it was supposed to come out in the fall. Did I misread? Did I not read when it was coming out? I probably read it and didn't think of it. March 2023 altercation. The box office. It's gonna be unveiled in the Toronto International Film Festival. And that means September. Good. That's soon. In September of next year, my bad. Buy a movie ticket to see this movie. Support people who are innocent. It's as easy as that. Berta says, they said they didn't think that the college-educated man couldn't understand some of the verbiage and points of this case. They did say that. And when the driver was giving his testimony of what was happening, they said he can't do it in English. We're gonna have to get an Urdu interpreter to translate what's he's saying. But he could speak English. He knows the words for hitting. He knows the words for him or her. He could have explained exactly what happened. But they wanted the impact of his words to be lessened by having him say it in another language and then having another guy read it. And it worked. The system is racist. Evidently. Thank you all for joining me. Don't want to take your time for granted. That was 30 minutes of me just being happy that Jonathan Majors is an innocent man. Jonathan Majors has a movie coming out, and it is of utmost importance that we support this movie. Anyone watching on the playback, support this movie. It's not just everyone in the live chat. Lee Road says thanks. You're welcome. In the live chat. One, if you're watching this movie, no matter what. Two, if you gotta wait for the trailer, you gotta see what the movie's saying. I want to see what the votes are, and there's no wrong answer. Like, you can just answer for yourself. Like, if you're not interested in seeing this movie, anyways, even after what I just read, it's going to be filming in Saskatchewan. It's a thriller about a CIA detective. It's called Merciless. Jonathan Majors is starring. One, if you're going, no matter what, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and I would imagine, yeah. When does it come out? One. I would imagine that's what everyone's gonna say. Eric says one. Roberta says one, and we got Skeletons X, or is that Stephanie? No, I'm playing. Skeletons X. Just tell me why. It is not it's not calling out for you. This movie about a woman who's a malevolent ex. Tell me why. You got two up there. Anyone else in this live chat? Because it says there's more of you than just these. Lee says one. We got Unerring Spy who's saying one. We got Queen saying one. It feels like this is a buy from our audience. Now, I don't know how many this is going to get, but those of you watching in the playback and you're all the way at the 31st minute, I also want to know what you're going to do with this movie. Like, unique answers, especially if you're someone who's saying two, I don't want to see this movie. I want to hear why. I'm still waiting on you, Skeletons X. Let me know why you can't see this movie. Like, what is it? Do you think he's guilty? Did you just go and find my video thinking like I wouldn't think he's guilty and you're here now? Tell me why it's a two for you. What does Damar say? Or Damar. That's how I started talking about the They Not Like Us, DeMar DeRozan thing. Demon Gazer says it's a one. Skeletons, I was about to close the stream, but we're going to wait a little bit longer. You said no. All right. I mean, it's possible that you got up and left and you had to do laundry or something, but because I answered you right after you typed it, I would imagine you're still here. Let me know. You said, no. You said two. My mouse. Two if I need the trailer. That's what I said, yeah. So you're going to need a trailer. You're going to need to be sold on this movie. I understand what you mean. Yeah, two if you need the trailer, or two if you're just generally not going to see it, if you're not interested in it. Like, it's an automatic buy for this guy. I know how he feels. It's an automatic buy for everyone else who just wrote one. So, yeah, there we go. But I did join late. Okay, I got you. Popping in. Thank you for showing up. I will be live streaming on Planet Fanatics, where we're going to bring up this. We're going to bring up The Acolyte. We're going to bring up Kendrick Lamar. I'll talk about that more intensively. But the Acolyte stuff and Ki-Adi Mundi, the Star Wars fandom, the way that I feel that every Star Wars influencer or cover or reviewer at the same kind of time made like this "we're against hate" video or tweet, I'm suspicious. Not that I'm for hate. Of course I'm against hate. But the show itself is receiving criticism for the parts of the content itself. And when I see this coordinated effort, is that the spin you're going to go with? Fine, man. Whoever's believing that is believing that. So I'm going to be on Planet Fanatics streaming sometime, maybe 3 hours from right now, wherever you are in the world, in whatever time zone you're at. I'm out of here, man. I'm late. Easy, great actor, innocent. Whatever it is, I'm down. Shout out to Sheed. Peace. Oh. Peace.